Namaste, Masters. Welcome to this evening's wisdom sharing session. The topic of today's session is the mind is the mantra. Once there was a man who was refused accommodation in a hotel, even though there was a vacant room. The manager was apologetic, but refused to give him the room. He said, "We have got a guest who is a troublemaker. If there is the least of sound, he creates a big fuss. So whenever he is here, we do not let out the room above his room." So the traveler said, "You really don't have to worry about it at all. I'm going to be out all day, won't be back until 11 at night, and I have to catch a train at 3 in the morning. So I will be hardly here for about 3 to 4 hours, and there won't be any chance to disturb your guest. There will be no problem." So the manager actually let out this room to this traveler. This guy came back roughly at midnight, tired after a really hard day's work. He sat on the bed. He removed one shoe, which he let fall on the floor. When the shoe hit the floor, he suddenly remembered that there is a person in the room below who should not be disturbed. So then he carefully placed the other shoe on the floor and went to sleep. After about 15 minutes, there was a knock on the door. He opened the door and saw a man standing there, trembling with rage. The traveler was afraid. He didn't know what to do. He asked the person, "Have I done something wrong?" The other person said, "Wrong? I ask you, what happened to the other shoe? I have been waiting for 15 minutes for you to drop it. You made it impossible for me to sleep. The other shoe is hanging on my head. I cannot rest till I find out what happened to the other shoe." All of us sit with the other shoe dangling, the shoe of negation, the shoe that we have to drop this and drop that. There are so many evils in our life that it is not possible to eradicate them all. Evil is hidden in every corner, in every nook and every cranny. Our whole life is filled with guilt, and the holy men and priests stuff us with this sense of guilt. They say to us, "This is wrong and that is wrong. Everything is wrong." They give us no information about what is right. They say, "How can you attain the right before you get rid of the wrong?" Their argument seems logical. Their argument is that there can be no light as long as darkness exists. But Osho tells us, if you listen to them, believe them, no matter how logical their statements, we will be stuck for lifetimes to come. It is they, the Pandits, who have actually led us astray. It is not the devil who has led us astray, because the so-called saints and their arguments appear so logical. As long as the wrong isn't dropped, how can you achieve the right? The question is, have we ever tried to get rid of darkness? If we wait for darkness to disperse before we light our lamp, we will never light it. Therefore, Osho tells us, light your lamp. Don't worry about the darkness, because no sooner is the lamp lit than darkness is gone. Bring in the light and the darkness vanishes. Nobody in this world has ever succeeded in dispelling darkness by removing it. Similarly, evil cannot be eradicated, but good can certainly be brought in. The world can never be renounced, but the soul can be attained. And as soon as the soul is attained, the world drops. The only man who attains the good is the man who gives up concentrating on evil. The mind is the mantra. So whether we use it for good or evil, repetition becomes energy. If anger arises, accept it, no matter how many times it raises its ugly head. Let us not feel repentant. Let us not fight it either. All we need to do is to focus on being compassionate. Osho says, do not punish yourself for your wrongdoings. Don't get involved with the thorns. Just let them be and concentrate on the flowers. If you are involved with the thorns, you will never reach the flowers. There are so many thorns, and you will be so badly bruised that when you find a flower, it will not give you any pleasure. Therefore, he says, do not pay attention to the thorns. Focus on the flowers. He who is overwhelmed by the beauty of the flower will not be affected by the thorns. The real thing is to be drawn in the essence of the flower. The real thing is to drink in the essence of God, and then the wines of this world will lose their charm. Otherwise, we will keep on fighting worldly pleasures, and we will be defeated by the same pleasures. Osho says, he who fights evil is defeated by evil. For such a mind makes a mantra of evil, because mind is the mantra. We need to try and understand the process of the mind. It repeats and repeats and repeats. The mind is the mantra. Mantra means that which creates energy by continuous repetition. The very repetition creates the power. If any single thought is repeated continuously, it is translated into action. The thought that is repeated time and again begins to manifest in life. Whatever we are is the outcome of some thoughts that have been repeated. There was a great French psychologist called Émile Coué who cured thousands of people with this mantra. Thousands of patients from all over the world used to go to him. His treatment was very simple. He would tell the patient to repeat to himself, I'm all right. I'm becoming healthy. He was told to repeat this before going to bed, as soon as he awakened, in the morning, and as many times as he remembered during the day. A single thought was to be constantly repeated. I am healthy. I'm becoming healthier and healthier every day. This seemed to be a miracle. People with incurable diseases were cured by this small mantra. People came from far and wide, but the trick was very small. Repetition creates energy. Mantra means repeating something over and over again. This sutra says the mind itself is the mantra. The sutra says you need no other mantra if you understand the mind. The working of the mind is nothing but repetition. What is your mind doing? What has it been doing for infinite lives? Merely repeating. What do you do every day? What you did yesterday, we repeat today. And we will do it again tomorrow if we do not change. The more we repeat, the more intense the repetition becomes. And we get so involved that we will find it difficult to get out of it. Pavlov did a great deal of research on this subject. He is perhaps the only person who cured patients with addictions. If someone was addicted to smoking and wanted to give it up, Pavlov would use this method of repetition. He would give this person a cigarette, and no sooner had he got the cigarette in his hand than he received an electric shock. The whole body felt the tremor and the cigarette fell out of his hands. For 7 days, you remain in his clinic. Every time you smoke, in the 7 days, the mantra would become stronger and stronger. Then the urge, so much so that the very mention of cigarette makes you tremble. You develop an aversion to smoking. Pavlov cured thousands of patients in this matter. His argument was, unless a person be given an opposite habit, which is stronger than his addiction, he cannot be made to overcome this habit. Therefore, Osho says, understand the nature of your mind, and you will understand this sutra. The whole art of the mind, its structure, is built on repetition. The mind is a mantra. Whatever is repeated becomes our habit. All that we keep repeating becomes a part of our life. For lives on end, we repeat the same things over and over again. And we attain it in each life. And we are addicted to the repetition of all that is wrong and false. So what needs to be done? Osho says, do not be in a hurry to destroy the false. The best way to go about it is start doing the right thing instead of fighting the wrong. Learn a new mantra. Begin to meditate and intensify the mantra of meditation every day. The day meditation pervades our whole being, we will be filled with self-respect. And when this happens, it will be child's play to give up smoking. For now, we have got a positive mantra. He says, don't be negative in your approach or you will find yourself in difficulty. We will be caught up in remorse and guilt. We will be lost in pain and sorrow and despair. All our holy men sitting in temples, how sad do they look? There is no joy, no flowering in their lives. They use only negative mantras. Their quest is centered around negation, to get rid of whatever is wrong, bit by bit. Therefore, Osho tells us, do not be in a hurry to get rid of your bad habits, but be quick to develop the good ones. The day the good habits become powerful, the bad habits are easy to give up. He says, don't fight with your illness, strive to attain health. That is what Ku used to tell his patients. He told them, practice autosuggestion. I am getting better. I am getting better. Therefore, Osho says, don't be in a hurry to renounce the world. Instead, strive to attain God. Don't walk the path of renunciation. Seek ultimate enjoyment. Don't concentrate on that which is wrong. Because in order to give up the wrong, you have to look at it again and again. And the more you look at it, the more mantra is repeated. And we become hypnotized by the thing that we watch constantly. Don't be concerned with the world. Let us fix our attention on God. Let us fix our attention on what is right. All our energy should move towards peace. So if we have a taste of the peace, why would we become restless? We maintain our restlessness only if we have never known the flavor of serenity. We can dive into the pleasures of this world only if we have not tasted the divine. So, avoiding the negative. Beware of saying no. Do not be anxious to drop the evil, for that evil will hypnotize us and we will never be able to get rid of it. Whatever we are trying to break away from, we eventually get more and more hooked onto it. Meditation is a state of being. The mind is a state of movement. Meditation is a condition of no movement. The mind is another name for wandering, and the place it wanders in are not new. It is caught in a rut. It wanders in the same places again and again, like an ox at the oil mill. If we observe this phenomenon consciously, we will know that it is not just a concept, but a fact of life. It is not a doctrine of philosophy. The circular movement of our mind is the mantra. It is a fact of life. The mind is the mantra. Repetition is the very nature of the mind. Therefore, nothing new is ever born in the realm of the mind. Nothing is ever original in the mind. Everything is old and stale, just remnants and scraps. And we keep chewing this. We are like cows, where we just continue chewing the same thing. Therefore, Osho says, understand this sutra well. The mind is the mantra. Meditation is the way to break this mantra. Thank you very much. If anyone has got anything to share, please feel free to unmute yourself and share.